if you think me otherwise, you're crazy. I'm telling you, that's your bag, man. I promise you, that's your bag. Bro, let me tell you something. You might not know I was here from day one. I was the one who told everybody on Ratchet Channel. I was the one who told everybody on Ratchet Channel that Devin was sitting outside the crib. And the only reason he didn't go in was because he didn't want to kill his own kid. And right after I told everybody that, less than 3 days later, Jossie went to the police station and snitched on Devin.
So my person on the paperwork is saying that's only one website saying it, so he don't really believe it.
3 days later. I tell y'all, pay attention, bro.
One second, hold on 1 second. Go ahead and keep holding down.
Nah, I'm saying pay attention. These niggas ain't who you think they is, bro. A lot of these niggas didn't like Mo 3, bro. Mo 3 and Sean G was at odds. They didn't like each other. Mo 3 and Cole Gotti was at odds. They didn't like. I don't know why people think because that person is your brother that you gotta like that nigga. Nigga, I got brothers that I don't like right now.
No, you did make sense though. When you said that he brought up that money, because I was thinking like, ain't but I thought about it like, why would your brother bring up the money like that? And I thought about it like, you and your brother, y'all don't even count because the count favors, my nigga. That's your brother. So
But
that's
hey, Wavy, not only did he bring up the money, but he said I could count on one hand how much money my brother gave me. What type of nigga can count on one hand how much money your brother gave you?
no real shit.
I can't count no favors nobody didn't do.
And salute to Kerry for that, Kari for that 30 piece. Salute. I appreciate that. Salute.
Nah, I don't think he was trying to count every cent. But when it came to big figures like that, you gonna have a recollect of that, bro. If my brother come around and give me 4,000 or 10,000, I'm gonna have a conscious mind of, okay, he just gave me 4,000, he just gave me 10,000, he just gave me 20,000. Now $20, $100 here. No, okay, no, I ain't gonna keep up with shit.
What are you still doing here? You still have not downloaded Pi Adblock? You know I'm just gonna keep showing up on your screen until you download it, right?
In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to download MX Bikes literally on any PC/laptop. So let's not waste any time and get into today's video. What you want to do for the first step is you want to go ahead and open up any browser, click on the search bar, and you want to type out Steam. Then once you go ahead and you typed on Steam, all you want to do is click on the first link. Then once you go ahead and you open up the link, all you now want to simply do is you want to click on Install Steam. Then you want to go ahead and click on this blue button just there, which will be Install Steam, and will simply download Steam. Then once you go ahead and you install your Steam, all you now want to do is you want to follow each and every step that I do. So go ahead and click on the search bar and you want to type out MX Bikes, and as you can see the game is just here, so go ahead and click on that. Now as you can see, this is the game just yep. So what you now want to do is, this is a early access to the game, so what you want to now do is you want to go ahead and click on add to cart. Then you want to just click on view my cart. Then you want to simply click on continue to payment. Now comes the most easiest part. All you now need to do is you want to just click on I agree to all the Steam terms, and this will make it where you get to purchase the game. So you want to simply click on purchase, and then you will find the game in your library and also in your download section, which you will download and install. But anyway, if you found this video helpful, please give a like and also sub this channel for more tips and tricks just like this. I'll find you in the next video. Peace.
Why did Cole Gotti and Rainwater get in a fight? That's the case.
Because they still had back issues. Yeah,
Nah.
yeah.
No,
We gonna get
no.
okay, man,
Bullshit. No,
me and my brother gonna get the fight, but
no. They
do
not
we had that
brothers.
shit?
Brothers, my
Hold on,
nigga.
no.
Cole Gotti is
But
not.
that's what it's worse. It's worse if me and my brother get the fight than me and my homeboy get the fight.
You not even peeping it, bro. You not even peeping. Why did Rainwater and Cole Gotti get into a fight?
Tell me, Cap. Tell me.
You want to know why? Because
Tell me.
Cole Gotti was mad that he put Rainwater in a position to get 20%. Cole Gotti was upset. Nigga, Rainwater didn't get a contract until Cole Gotti convinced Miss Nicole to put him in position. He got 20% because of Cole Gotti. So Cole Gotti was upset, like, damn, I help you get a contract with my mom, 20% to take care of Mo3, and you don't put me on the HSM network. I gotta pay attention.
Hold on. No. I would be pissed off too. Listen to what you just said, bro. If I'm going to bat for you to get you on paperwork so you can get paid, then the shit is getting done. Then come next step. I'm asking, hey, put me up on here, put me on the page, put me on the link. And you don't do it, you gonna feel some type of way.
So why you think
I put you in position?
So now stop there. Why you think Rain didn't do it? Why you think Rain didn't do it? No.
Oh, hold on. I can't. Hold on. That right there, where I cannot go and communicate that because I don't have all of the inner workings on that.
Hold up. Answer my question. Why do you think Rainwater and Cole Gotti got so much beef between each other? Because Cole Gotti feel like Rainwater crossed him. Cole Gotti feel like Rainwater crossed him. I helped you get 20% and become signed to my brother's estate, and you dogged me out. You made me feel like you was gonna put me on. You made me feel like you was gonna get me signed, and you dogged me. Now you with me.
You would feel the exact same way, right?
Exactly. So pay attention.
Okay, then. So how are you now trying to position that to Cole Gotti being a fucked up ass person?
Because Rainwater didn't do it because he knew Mo3 didn't fuck with him.
No.
He used Cole Gotti. He used Cole Gotti to get close to Miss Noble. He used Cole Gotti to get 20% of the fucking contract. He used Cole Gotti. Yo Gotti was used like a fucking pawn. That's why Cole Gotti hate Rainwater right now.
Man, Cole Gotti hate. I ain't even gonna say hate. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know the man's true feelings on it. But Cole Gotti do not mess with him. Cole Gotti is not messing with him due to the funds that they all of a sudden discovered that his brother didn't have privy to. He wasn't a writer because of his mind. When he was stated of his mind, so he's street dude. He's not deep into the rap industry yet, of course, everything for its publishing and all that stuff, to where he wasn't bringing Mo3 up like that. He wasn't putting him on game. And speaking on Rain, that's what Cole Gotti was saying. And so that's the issue that I have. That all of a sudden all these funds that is supposed to be owed to my brother, is not there. Hey, yeah, we finna have an issue.
Yo, but bro, a lot of people forget that Cole Gotti and Rainwater had a fight. A lot of people forget that Cole Gotti beat. A lot of people forget that.
No, Rainwater beat up Cole Gotti.
No, they say Cole Gotti beat up Rainwater. They say Cole Gotti, Rainwater wasn't even trying to fight. It wasn't really a fight. They just say he snuck. But it was all. But the reason they fought was because.
Hey, look, y'all. That paperwork real.
It's real.
Yeah.
So we could confirm it's real.
I confirm this real.
Yeah, that's all we want. And we want to confirm real paperwork.
it really did happen. It did happen.
So who else reporting on that?
Nah, I just think.
Okay, so if it's real, and this is the person that you reported on, who is he?
He's a GRC, remember the head of GRC.
He's the head of GRC. So basically they saying he was the one that told Keywan to do it.
That's it. He got the same charge Keywan, Devin, and Yellow Beezy got. All of them got the same charge.
So that mean that they're saying that he's the one that told them to do it. He was the one that said, you gonna do this.
It's looking like he might have put up some of the money.
So that means Yellow Beezy is snitching. You
That
heard
means somebody snitching. It's looking like Yellow.
Ratchet.
I think they already had him in the mix of it, bro.
Oh no, man, y'all gotta wake up. It ain't no
man. Hold on, technology these days, bro. All right, man.
Hold on, go ahead. Hold on, let him finish, please.
Bro, technology these days, man. They can find out shit easily than what we can.
Bro,
and so when it came to man, see they
hold on, let him finish, Keith.
Oh, no, he got to go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish, bro. What was you saying?
But yeah, man, like technology these days, man, be able to track things, get stuff in here, find out the call logs, reference stuff, set up time and date. It's easy for them to do that shit now, bro. Like I'm always go back and say they did state on the Yellow Bees and shit that hey, there's other people. Well, they hinted to that there's going to be other people involved because they're only saying that he only put up a certain portion of the funds.
So who you think just paid the portion? Who you think just paid this other portion? Yellow Beachy just told who just paid the other portion. Jerry is responsible for paying a portion.
No, they are. Listen to what I'm saying. Now, hold on. You know what, Cap? I give you that. I go ahead and give you that. Say, Yellow Beezy told him that.
Salute Bill for that honey bun. I appreciate you, Bill. Salute.
Appreciate that money. Hey, hey, at only the truest. That's my nigga. At only the truest. He good people.
He was in here, but he just left.
Hey, only the truest. Hit the link. He cap game. Hey, look. You right, bro. I'm not saying you wrong, but pay attention to what's happening. I went to jail.
No, I'm saying.
So listen what I'm saying. Yellow Beezy just got arrested. We know his grandmother helped lower his bail. Ratchet was the only person that ever brought up Jerry. No other blogger ever brought up Jerry. Nobody ever talked about Jerry. Nobody said nothing about Jerry. Now all of a sudden Jerry get arrested for indicted in this crime. Are you not paying attention? That means somebody told on Jerry.
But if what Ratchet is saying is true about saying, hey, whatever that group is, GRC has something to do with it, and he's the head of GRC, then at some point the head got to come with it.
That are you right?
Right? Okay. So I'm not what Ratchet was saying. If Ratchet brought him up in 2020, I'm not saying he was wrong or anything. What am I just saying though about your case of saying that that was Yellow Beezy that told all this? You know what? That's why I said
no. It wasn't Yellow who was telling. Listen to me, y'all. I've been saying this since 2021. Jerry Johnson is. Wait, let me talk. Let me talk. Listen to what I'm saying. And whoever got all the noise in their background, please mute your mic. Listen to what I'm saying. In 2021, I am the one who said Jerry Johnson is the snitch in GRC. I've been telling everybody Jerry Johnson is a snitch. That nigga got 3 convicted felon with a firearm charges. 3. Mm-hmm. How the fuck you walk in the streets with 2? Nigga, you got 3, and they kept letting you out. And in one of the cases, they let him out, and they said the judge, when he went to court, the judge said, we're dismissing the case. A convicted felon with a firearm, the judge, sir, whoever HD is, mute your mic, please. I keep asking you, please mute your mic because you got some shit going on in your
That's me,
background.
man. That's me.
I'm asking you to mute your mic. That's all I'm saying. I keep saying mute your mic. You got shit going on in your background. Please mute your mic. Back to what I was saying. He gets one of the charges. I'm gonna mute you. Don't worry about it. One of his charges, when he goes to court, it says Jerry Johnson goes to court. The judge just says we're dismissing the charges, and the DA and them are like, wait, why are we dismissing the charges? The judge gives them no reason and just lets the charges go. Next thing you wait, let me finish. Wait, let me listen. Let me say it again. Jerry Johnson was a two-time convicted felon with a firearm carrier. He caught his third right after Mo3 died. And then he goes to court and the judge dismisses the charges and lets him go free. That day, they just let him go. And the DA and the prosecutor all them like, wait, why the fuck are we dismissing this? We got him hung we got him hung. Well, he's done. He's going to prison forever. He's finished. The judge says, I'm dismissing the case. Doesn't give no one no reason why he dismissed this convicted felon with a firearm case. Next thing you know, 2 years later, that name pops up as the head of the GRC RICO. They got his phone tapped. They got him on phone records. They got his text messages. They got him dead to rights, setting all the GRC members up in the RICO. He is the reason why the whole RICO happened. But I told y'all in 2021, that nigga was the snitch in GRC. So back to the Mo3 case, this nigga is probably the one giving up all the info because he wants to get out. He already been snitching in 2021. He already been giving them information on GRC. He already gave, hey, tap my phone. I set everybody up. And just watch me, bro. Follow me. They got whole wire surveillance on these niggas. They got all the surveillance that tells everybody what's going on, but they're tracking him and Cedric. He set Cedric up. And then comes Theodore, which is Jose Bodega. This nigga, Jerry Johnson, set the whole GRC up. So now I kept asking if Jerry Johnson is Yella Beezy's cousin and Jerry Johnson is the one snitching in 2021, how did they miss Yella Beezy in this RICO? Boom. Now they got Yella Beezy.
So guess what? I was wrong.
Jerry Johnson is a snitch.
Remember I kept saying it got to be somebody close to him. Remember I kept saying it's got to be somebody close to him in the house. I was wrong the whole time. I could admit that. I thought it was Yellow Beezy baby mother. It's Jerry Johnson. Jerry Johnson is the anonymous witness.
Jerry Johnson gave up GRC back in 2021. They watched them niggas for 2 years.
2 years. He's the anonymous witness. Go ahead, right?
Jerry Johnson had to drop on Mo3. Jerry Johnson helped pay for the hit with Mo3. And I'm sure that Jerry Johnson finally is just like, bro, we all caught, bro. This shit is done. Now we know Yella Beezy is not gonna beat this case. Now that your nigga got picked up with the same charge you on, that means all of y'all can be co-defendants. P1, Devin, Jerry Johnson, Yella Beezy. Y'all niggas are going, all of y'all conspired, and they already, hold on, but this is the kicker. They already had Jerry Johnson's phone tapped. What do you think him and Yella Beezy were talking about?
A whole bunch of shit. He the first person that they got. He was the anonymous witness. Jerry Johnson was the first person.
So that's what I'm saying, Cap. If what Gangsta is saying, if what Record is saying, it's already being proven about him having his phone tapped and going down. There's no reason nothing Yella could do to get him messed up. He's already watched if that's the case.
Exactly.
Oh no, but think about this. They are in 2021. The judge lets this man walk. Nobody, and I was the only person on the internet asking everybody. And then So Player, you definitely was defending this nigga Jerry Johnson. So I gotta look at you. I'm definitely looking at So Player real weird right now because when I was exposing Jerry, you hit my phone up and threatened me and told me leave Jerry out of this or Jerry gonna come see you, nigga. Jerry gonna knock your head off if you keep talking about Jerry Johnson. You gotta leave JJ alone. He kept saying JJ first. And I was like, who the fuck is JJ? And he was like, you know JJ, Jerry. And I was like, Jerry Johnson? He's like, shit, yeah. He said, yeah, real GRC. Remember, you better leave that nigga alone. And I was like, oh, Jerry Johnson. But come to find out, like I said, bloggers are attached to this shit too, and y'all are gonna find out real soon that certain people are gonna be subpoenaed and they're gonna have to testify for the shit that they've been hiding in this case too. And they ain't reporting it. You know that certain bloggers don't report on shit that's going on right now. But Jerry Johnson, they already had him in 2021. As a matter of fact, excuse me, they had him in 2020. He started snitching right after Mo3 died. As soon as Mo3 died, he got picked up with a firearm again for the third time. And his other two cases, he got to go to prison 2 times for the shit. And he got some little light sentences on this shit. So I don't know how he got he was giving up them light sentences because he'd been working. Jerry Johnson is an informant. And I said this in 2021, and everybody was like, nah, man, that nigga ain't snitching. Jerry Johnson, a solid nigga. You got to know that nigga, the head of GRC, he got all the money. Come to find out, they let him out to go work. You go work, and give us everything. I think that he gave up these gems in 2020, but he kind of withheld him and Yella Beezy's part in the shit. I think that Jerry Johnson was the one who gave the drop on Devin. I think Jerry Johnson was the one who gave the drop on Keywan, because that's the nigga. It was probably him and his girlfriend sitting up there, and they thought that they could make Keywan be the fall guy. So now that Keywan goes to jail and Keywan starts snitching on Keywan and Devin start turning the table and snitching on Yella Beezy. Now Jerry Johnson gets thrown back into the mix because of Yella Beezy. They started going through them phone records, and they found out. I believe that they already got tapped with Jerry Johnson and Beezy. Go ahead, Keith.
Ratchet, the only reason Jerry Johnson is being thrown into the mix now is because everybody want to know who's the anonymous guy. Who's the anonymous?
But also, everybody needs to know that this was supposed to be a $200,000 hit, not 40. There's still more money. Niggas, this was a $200,000 hit. Mo3 did not have 40,000 on his head. Yella Beezy had 40 on it. Jerry had some money on it. Keywan wasn't paid all his money. That's what people are forgetting. Keywan White was not paid all his money.
No.
And Keywan White started snitching because Keywan White told everybody, I'm in jail. These niggas stop picking up my phone calls. GRC do not fuck with me no more. They froze my money. They not sending me no more money on my books. These niggas not picking up the phone. I'm not finna sit in here and these niggas not gonna hold me down. Fuck that. These niggas owe me some money. And that they were supposed to be funneling the money through the prison system. So keep money on my books to pay for that hit. And we good. As long as I can eat up in here and I fight this case, I'm good. But it started looking like, nigga, I can't get a lawyer. This shit, I'm finna get life. They finna throw the death penalty at me. Fuck that, nigga. Yella Beezy paid me 40,000 for the hit. But Yella Beezy, when they start going through Yella Beezy shit, now they see that Yella Beezy wasn't even only nigga. It was not 40. They just overheard Yella Beezy saying he had 40 on him. Now they find out, okay, so Yella Beezy had 40. Jerry had about 40. So-and-so, they gonna find out so-and-so had this amount, so-and-so had this amount, and they all went in together for a $200,000 hit that was supposed to be paid, or somebody had the money or something. I don't know who got the money or who was supposed to be doing what, but certain people set the play up. Trap Boy Freddy's looking real suspect right now. So I don't know, dog. If Trap Boy Freddy get picked up pretty soon, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Now that they done got Jerry Johnson, and I just found out it's true, because I ain't gonna lie, I was skeptical about the shit, because there's fake paperwork going around. But now that I know that they got Jerry, Jerry's good, and GRC is done, and GRC is already going to a RICO, but everybody's taking plea deals in the RICO. GRC is a gang. This is going to be a RICO. Mo3 case will turn into a federal RICO when this is all said and done. They're going to the feds because there's money involved. Hold on, somebody's trying. What's your name, sir? Stay Fly. You're muted. We can't hear nothing you saying. You're muted.
Yeah, that's Stay Fly.
Yeah. Catch me up, Ratchet. Hey, shout out to
Salute.
I started following you from the Naziah Harris case that you popped up today, and I just clicked it. I'm from Georgia, so I don't really know about this Mo3 case. I mean, I know about it, but I don't speak on it. But if you can fix me up real quick on who was Jerry Johnson?
Jerry Johnson. That's the head of the GRC. Yella Beezy's gang. That's the head of the gang.
Okay. So now that his name is in it, because I've been watching certain channels and I haven't heard his name yet. So now that I say, you know what, Ratchet got this name on. I put him from the Zaya case, and I saw my guy Gangsta Cap up here. I said, you know what, I'm gonna hit the link real quick, see what's going on, and I'm gonna hop off because I don't know too much. I know a little bit. Don't know a lot, but I want to do and Ratchet, you and Gangsta, just catch me up just a little second, and I'm gonna hop on right now. Take my advantage.
Cool, stay fly, cool, Ratchet. That's my nigga. That's stay fly.
Okay, cool. Yeah, now we still getting into it, so I ain't gonna give you too long. All it is GRC basically paid for the hit on Mo3, and the head of the GRC, Yellow Beezy's cousin, is the head of the GRC. He actually is the person that's probably going to be the head of all this that put the play together in motion for Mo3's hit, and he probably had all the money. He probably collected all the money to get paid. That's what it's looking at. This nigga was probably the guy who was supposed to be passing out the money. It probably all went to him. This is the nigga with all the money. So I gotta think that Jerry Johnson put up some money, and I gotta think that the GRC members were paying him for the hit.
So why his name haven't been thrown around if he's a big dog?
His name's been thrown around by me since 2021. I'm the only person on everybody today to give me my flowers again. Everybody today say, Ratchet, you fucking did it again. You called Jerry Johnson in 2020. No. He's the only nigga on the internet. Nobody even said his name. Even after I dropped the GRC paperwork. I dropped the GRC RICO paperwork. Nobody still said Jerry Johnson. Ain't nobody said this nigga name in damn near 5 years but me. Now he's in everybody's title.
Hold up, you just stay fly. You said his name, and he.
I never heard it. I never heard his name. Yeah,
you said. That's why nobody said his name, because he a big dog. Big dog name. Ratchet dropped this name 5 years ago, and nobody even talked about it. Nobody even kept going about it. So peep what's going on. So this is what people just got arrested. Now a big dog name just got dropped. So either it's only two ways that this could go, y'all. Either this big dog was already snitching, or Yellow Beezy dropped his name.
But Yellow Beezy didn't drop his name. I don't believe Yellow Beezy dropped his name.
I said it's only two ways it could go. Listen what I'm saying. It's only two ways to go. Either he was already snitching.
Alright, you guys, we're gonna see if we can wheelie from this gray car all the way to that red car. Let's see if we can do it. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, we're so close. Just a couple more feet. Alright, you guys, we're gonna...
Cover your place in bugs. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's your boy Smokestay here, back at you with another video. And today, I just wanted to help you with a problem that took me forever to figure out. I could not figure out why, when I downloaded the pit bike, the 110 pit bike for the Pittermania track by Lens, I had no sound. I could not hear the bike at all. Severely frustrating, right? So, what I did, I reached out to a couple different people, Buzz Cooksey and Reaperdoc, and Reaperdoc put me on to the Bayer Sound Mods. So when you go to MXB Mods, you will go to Bikes, Sounds, Bayer Sound Mods. Now the one I downloaded is the top one, which I will include a link in the video. And then from there, after you download it, you will have it over here in your downloads folder. You will hit extract, and then you will extract it into the folder. Once you extract it, it will look like this. So what you're going to want to do from there is just open that, open the bikes, and then just copy this folder right here, Sound Mods. That's it. Then you're going to want to go and open your bikes folder. If it will open. Did I close it? Replace files or anything because I already have all of these files into here. So I'm gonna skip. Now once you do that, you will have a folder inside of your bikes folder just called Sound Mods. And the most important one is the folder that says samples. So once those are into...
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Dope Boy the Gamer. Look, man, today your boy finna give y'all a great selection of maps for y'all to choose through, you know what I'm saying? So listen, if y'all want to download any of these maps, check the link in the description. Send your friends this video. I'm gonna give out a couple of good maps on the hood, yeah. Price for shit y'all ain't never seen or never knew how to download. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy this video, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning into my videos. Lately, y'all been turning me up. Wait, I'll turn my last, you know what I'm saying, best bike life game up, so, you know, I'm gonna keep that up, type of video like that. So, first off, I'm gonna start off with this map. This map is called Breakerville. This is like the first map I ever played. This and Trail, the only two maps that I really just started on for real. But I'm pretty sure y'all already know what this is, man. You spawn in by a gas station, and it's a beautiful map. Like, only thing is it's skinny road, so that's why it's like the first one. That's the only reason why I don't like it. It's not a swerve map, really, unless you good as fuck. If you good as fuck, you can do it. But if you're new, you know what I'm saying, I'm sorry, it's gonna be a little hard. But if you go that way, like the way I was going.
It's Bravo Rama at Car Bravo, our biggest event of the year, going on right now.
You be on the street for a long time. Like, you ain't gonna see no buildings like this. This map do got buildings, but not a lot. This is the only like real neighborhood for real right here. But it is more around on the track. Let's see if I can hit this turn. Oh, right here. I ain't played this map for so long, I forgot how it was. God damn. Oh, worm. Let me try to hit this turn. Is it a hump? Oh, it is a hump. Damn. Let's see if I can hit a U-turn right here. I can never do this shit. First try, can I do it? Come on. Oh! Y'all gonna count that? Would y'all count that? I kinda hit the sidewalk. But I never did that before. And for me to do that the first try is crazy. next map. I'm gonna show y'all. All right, you guys. Next map up is Avis, man. What y'all know about Avis, bro? This is the Hitter Hour, you know what I'm saying, map right here. The whole Discord used to call this the Hitter map for real, cause like it's so smooth. It's the best map like on FPS. Like right now, I'm getting about 300 frames. God damn, that's crazy. But it's a short map, but the when you have a lot of people in here, it's fun, real fun. But this most definitely open roads for you to learn how to swerve for real, if you new. If I fall in this drop, I'm gay. Come on now. Your boy is not gay. Fuck nigga. Try to keep calm for a quick. Fuck! Fuck! Woo! Working on that chop, man, on the hood. I'm gonna get that chop great one time. My boy Miami and Nate, they know how to chop so good. Got me jealous, man. I'm gonna learn it though. But yeah, this Avis right here. Look, I'm getting zoned out because I fuck with this map so hard. Like, y'all gotta download this shit. It's only right. Next map up, Bike Life City. Now this one, I'm pretty sure you're gonna probably have to pay. But at one point, this motherfucker be free. So like, I mean, I don't even know how much it costs. I think it's like $2 a dollar. It ain't shit. But you gotta put like $10 inside the app in order to buy a map. That's the only thing. Dang. But this need to go ahead and be free, man. Cause I mean, if I could send somebody $2 and they can just buy it, like I'd do it like that. But you gotta put $10 in that motherfucker.
Alright, you guys, let me see if you can really from this great call.
But for this to be a city map, you know what I'm saying, the FPS is not that bad.
Whatever you do,
do it not that bad. It's great. It's just sometimes when you turn, look a certain way, or you go to a different part of the city. Like right now, I'm getting 300, almost 300, 250 frames. Good. Oh shit! You put that car right there, bro. Put the cars right there, bro.
Like this. This map do got buildings, but not a lot. This is the only like real neighborhood for real right here. But it is more around.
Show us how you. Oh, I did that on purpose. You know what I'm saying? I did that on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Stop playing with me, man. Can't nobody do that trick. You know what I mean?
I ain't played this map.
But if you want to show off your swerves and stuff, this is a good clipping map. So like right now I'm getting 115 frames, 105. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stay on the other side. That's where the big building's at. Watch this. When I turn to the left, I'm gonna get great frames. Watch this. Oh, I lied. But look, man, this map ain't really that hard to run. If you got a mid-range PC, you good on the HUD. This place got a lot of places to go. You can go through the alleyways and shit. So that's why I recommend it. This will turn you to a hitter for real. Let me try this real quick. Come on now. Come on now. Oh! We gonna act like we didn't see that. Oh, oh. Oh my God. All right, next map though. Next up, Macau, the OG Macau. Not no new Macau, man. This, I ain't gonna lie, this is the best version, man. They made a new Macau, but I really ain't fucking with it because you can't go in in the inside, not the inside, but the city part, the blue part. The city, yeah. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. The city, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure y'all already know what Macau is, but this is my favorite part right here. Going through this. Is this the right way? I think I'm trying to nuke. Well, I don't know where the hell I'm at right now. What the hell? Okay, here we go. I should have probably went through there. That shit look clean over there. Oh! We gonna act like we didn't see that, alright?
In 3, 2.
To acknowledge the tragedy of the loss of life, no matter which side you stand. Very space for all troops. Both sides to acknowledge that human life is sacred, no matter. And that we each have
Listen, man. 2 streets, turn on. Then the sidewalk is my favorite part. Like, I love being on the sidewalk. Can you turn? Nope. My God, I'm worming. Turn. Oh, you think you can go through that? Oh my gosh, why am I worming, bruh? Time to go smoke, bruh. Boy, sober than a motherfucker. I gotta get that video done, man. Okay. Okay. There we go. I'm worming, bruh. This Michael ain't been on this map in a long time. Okay. We'll pull some extra traffic and shit. Oh. Come on now. We're gonna keep it going. Excuse me, ma'am. Oh, oh. Oh. Thought I was gonna hit that mug. My thing about this map is everything, I guess you can go through that bitch. And I be thinking you can smack into that bitch. Let me. Oh, okay. Smack into this. Okay. What the fuck? What the fuck can you go hit? Like, you can't hit none of that shit? What about building? Okay. Well, it's really nothing to fuck you up for real. You just gonna be over here. William. Going through shit. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, I forgot I was streaming. I forgot I was streaming. The fuck is good with y'all, man? I'm just trying to willy some shit. Yo, I forgot I was streaming on, bro. Who is this? But yo, I forgot I was streaming. What game is this? This is the MX Bikes. My nigga Justin. Damn, my fault, y'all. Trying to 12 o'clock this bitch. Should have had a comments on my phone, don't tweet it. Y'all kind of fucked me up. It's the man's comments. Oh, I forgot I was streaming it, bro. tough. That was tough. Yeah, there. 12 o'clock, boys. Yo, Corey. Yo, this MX bikes. This MX bikes, buddy. That's fake. I'm on the brake like a motherfucker. Second gear, that second gear, definitely. That second gear hit different. I'm getting better at this shit though. Bro, I'm getting better. A few mistakes, but What the fuck? Oh my God. It's at 1 o'clock.